All right, how's it going? Wyatt here at the Team O'Neill Rally School. What we're gonna do today, how to teach yourself to drive a manual transmission car, standard, stick shift, whatever you might call it, in 5 minutes or less. If you don't have somebody to teach you or something like that, if you follow the steps in this video, you'll be able to drive a manual transmission as capably as anyone out there on the road in a really short period of time. So let's take a look. If you get the chance to teach yourself how to drive a manual, there's just a few things you need to know. Get in, get your seat adjusted, get your belts right. If you're used to an automatic, there's two things you need to look at here. One, you've got 3 pedals. On the right, you've got your throttle. In the middle, you've got your brake. On the left, you've got a clutch. So just sitting here, don't start the car, don't, leave the parking brake on, and you want to feel that clutch pedal. So with your left leg, push the clutch all the way down, and then release it slowly and push it in slowly and spend 1 minute sitting here and just kind of feeling that out, where it's a little light as you first push the clutch and then it gets a little heavier, and it's heavy as you release it and then it gets lighter, or, all cars are going to be a little different. So get a little bit zen with your left foot pushing the clutch and releasing the clutch, because that's really the whole name of the game with driving a standard transmission, is being good with the clutch and what's going on there. The other thing is, before you even move, get a feel for the shifter. So you need to push the clutch in to use the shifter. And most of them have a little pattern on here that shows you where the gears are. And your car, you're definitely going to want to look at that. This one, it's a race car. We don't have it, but 90% of the time, left and up is first gear. Straight back from that is second gear. Upright up is third gear. Straight back is fourth. Up over up is fifth. So fifth, fourth, third, second, first. And that's going to be very standard. If you need reverse, it's over here. What you can do is, again, take a second with the clutch in and go first, second, third, fourth, fifth, fourth, third, second, first, without starting the engine. Nothing's moving. It's perfectly safe. You can play with everything. The parking brake's on, and make sure you've got a good feel for the clutch and you've got a good feel for where the gears are in that H pattern shift pattern right there, because once you're driving, you're obviously not going to be looking at it. So, look out the windshield and see if you can still do this fairly competently. And if you can't, just sit here for a little bit until you can. You can feel the clutch, you can feel the shifter, and then once you're happy there, we're going to start the car. So the clutch goes in, we're in neutral, meaning we're not in any gears, and the parking brake's on. I'm going to start the car. And you're fine. You can sit here, you're not moving, everything's wonderful. When you decide it's time to go, do this in a parking lot or in a nice level area. So I've got the parking brake off, but we're not rolling down a hill or anything. My clutch is all the way in, and I mean to the floor, all the way down. I'm gonna go left and up, and I'm in first gear. We're not moving here until I release the clutch. As you release the clutch, slowly, don't give it any throttle here, just start releasing the clutch, and you'll feel there the engine bogs down a little bit, and the car's trying to move forward a little. So feel that out. And if you can, a lot of cars doesn't necessarily love it in this one, but you can see I can take off, and I'm driving now. I'm in first gear. I never use the gas. So practice that a handful of times. A safe, open parking lot. Whenever it starts to get weird or you want to stop for whatever reason, clutch in and brake. And that's your safety. It's always there, no matter what gear you're in. Clutch in and brake if it starts to get weird on you. But when you want to feel that clutch out, you're in first gear. I'm going to start letting the clutch out. And see, if you do it too fast, the car's going to stall. So I'll just stall it and show you what that looks like. Sweet, it stalled out. Get used to that. That's going to happen. It's not a big deal. Not really hurting anything unless you do it 10,000 times, but that's what you're up against. So easing the clutch out, I feel the engine bog down, I see the tachometer drop, it starts to move forward, let the clutch out the rest of the way, and here we are driving along in first gear. Once you're good at that, the next thing to practice, clutch in and brake again to a stop. And if you give it a little bit of gas, you don't have to be so slow off of the clutch, and the clutch is going to be happier with that. So we want to keep the engine RPM, at around 1,000 RPM or something, and just smoothly give it a little gas as we let the clutch out. And you can be really smooth about getting from a stop to a moving state. That's another one. Practice that a dozen times. Come to a stop, let the clutch out and give it a little gas. That's lovely. Clutch in and stop. Let the clutch out and give it a little gas. And it sounds silly, but if you do this 20, 30 times, you're going to get way better before you try and leave the parking lot. Once you're good at getting going in first gear, you know, try starting on a little bit of a hill somewhere, because you'll see, like if I park on this hill, you're gonna have the problem that if I let off the brake to go, look what happens. We start moving backwards, right? See, the world's moving forwards behind me. So what you can do, there's a couple ways to do this. You can either just let it roll back a little and just be kind of quick about letting the clutch out, or if you're in first gear with the clutch in, something that helps people a lot is to hold the car with the parking brake. Now I can let my right foot off the brake and move to the throttle, and then as I let the clutch out, I put the parking brake down and we drive away. So that's the easiest way to start on a hill. It's one of the drawbacks of driving a manual over an automatic, is having to start on a hill. A lot of people roll back or stall out. It's a problem. So just find a nice safe place and get used to that. Once you're good at starting in first gear on level ground and on uphills and downhills and stuff, stay in first gear for a long time. When you decide it's time to shift into second or third gear, you want more speed, it's really, really simple. You know, if I'm in first gear, all you need to do to shift to second is off the gas, clutch in, go to second gear and clutch out. And you don't need much gas on. You can do the whole thing off the gas. So off the gas, clutch in, I'm gonna go to third gear and clutch out. Didn't use any throttle, you don't need to. And certainly when you're going downshifting, it's the same thing. You're off the gas, you go clutch in, second gear, clutch out. And as long as you do it at a reasonable speed, you're fine. You don't ever want to put it in first gear at like 50 miles an hour. It probably won't let you, but if it does, don't let the clutch out. You know, there's a speed range for each gear, but as long as you're pretty normal about it and your engine RPM's between 1 and 3,000 or 4,000 or whatever, you're gonna be fine. So that's the basics of how to drive a manual transmission. Hopefully you get the opportunity to drive a manual, you get a little bit of confidence in these things. They're intimidating to start with, but once you drive around a little bit, that's really all there is to it. When you pull into stop, you know, here I am, I'm in neutral, the engine's running, nothing's moving, I can go parking brake on, shut the car off. Typically leave it in first gear with the parking brake on, because you don't have park, and that'll hold you in gear pretty well. So hopefully that helps you out. If you're into that and some more high performance driving, if you pick up driving as a hobby, high speed stuff, definitely check out our YouTube channel. There's a bunch of different videos on there for stuff, and subscribe to that. Check out the Team O'Neill Rally School at teamo'neill.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.